Hello, 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 and welcome to the wonderful Wednesday broadcast of Miss Hope's Reading Hour. So glad that you all could be here with me today. So I am so sorry that I did not get to come on our Marvelous Monday broadcast because was having quite a bit of technical difficulties. I could not believe it. It was internet issues, technical issues, and I was like, what is going on? So I had to call it a day for Marvelous Monday. But I'm glad I'm here on this wonderful Wednesday. So, my friends, at least for our friends in the Philadelphia School District, you have been out of school 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. You have been 6 days out of school. I hope that you are enjoying yourself, that you and your families have maybe gone on a trip or you've gotten to play outside and have fun in the sun. I know there were some days where it was super, super rainy, but today was a lovely day outside. Beautiful. It was sunny. It was warm, but it wasn't crazy humid and like super, super hot. So it was really, really nice. Really, really nice, especially if it was beach weather or whether to be near the ocean, which one of our books is going to talk about that today. Okay. Um, And also, coming up is Juneteenth. Juneteenth is literally on the 19th, okay? On the 19th of this month. And many of our African American friends will be celebrating. And really, it's something for everybody to celebrate. Because, like I said during Black History Month, right? Black history is everybody's history, just like other cultures' history. Because guess what? We are all humans and we should all learn about each other. Okay? All right. So, Juneteenth, anyone can come along and celebrate it with us. Okay? Just a minute. Because I wanted to read you a little something about Juneteenth. Because unfortunately, I could find no books on Juneteenth. You know why? Because many people went out and scooped up them books. Okay. So Juneteenth is a holiday commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. It's also called Emancipation Day or Juneteenth Independence Day. The name Juneteenth references the date of the holiday, combining the who have been through kind of similar things, and they have ways of celebrating their freedom. So that is a way that we celebrate our freedom. And we're going to have a book about a song that is not only sang during Black History Month, but people also sing this song on many other occasions, including Juneteenth. Okay. So we'll be reading that book as well, a little bit of history about this certain song. When you see the book, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I know that song. I know that song. Now, before we get to the books, let me tell you, literally looking through my books today that I still have here, I think that I may be down to 10 books. I have to make another order, and I would so very much appreciate all of my adult ones, friends, teacher friends, parent teacher friends, all friends of Miss Hope's Reading Hour, as well as young ones, okay? Young ones, You can donate however much you would like to donate, okay? Just like the adult ones. Any amount you want to donate to the Miss Hope's Reading Hour Library will be greatly appreciated because we need it. We are low down on books, okay? And I don't want to go back and read the books that we read before because there's thousands of awesome books that are out there. I've already been looking at books, okay? But I would so appreciate it if you would come alongside me, who is one of the major donors to Miss Hope's Reading Hour Library, to donate as well. Any amount will be used for the purpose of buying books for the Miss Hope's Reading Hour Library. How can you donate is the question. I am about to give you the answer. You can donate via Cash App. That is, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys. So you can donate via Cash App. The Cash App handle is the $ and Hope GM, HOPEGM, all one word, all lowercase, and you can donate that way. Any amount you donate, 100% of the donations will be going to buying books for the Miss Hope's Reading Hour Library. You can also donate by digital gift cards, and you can send them to our email address, the Miss Hope's Reading Hour email address, which is right down here in this here ticker. Okay, so you're going to see the Cash App handle. It's passing by right now, and then right next to that will be our email address, misshopesrh@gmail.com. You can send any digital gift card that would help us to buy books from your favorite book retailer, or just a Visa or a MasterCard gift card. You can send it that way. Or if you actually want to send me books, you can send me books. Just send me an email and let me know that you want to send books to me, and I will give you all the information that you need in order to do that, okay? So, now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, let us get to the books. Now, one of my favorite things to do when I go to the beach is just to sit in the sand, and the sand close to the water, and just look out over the ocean. I could sit there and look at the ocean all day. It is like my favorite thing to do when I am on the beach. So, since when you're at the beach, you're definitely going to see the ocean, our first book is called Commotion in the Ocean. Commotion? What is that about? Okay, so this book is by Giles Andre and David, I'm not going to butcher this name, Wojtowicz. I think I got it. Giles Andre and David Wojtowicz. Commotion in the Ocean. So we're going to learn about this commotion in the ocean, okay? Now, our next book. Remember I said there is a song that is usually sang during Black History Month, but many people will sit before they start Juneteenth parades or Juneteenth programs throughout this week and this weekend. They will probably be singing this song at least once, okay? So this book is called Sing a Song: How Lift Every Voice and Sing Inspired Generations. I told you would recognize that song, Lift Every Voice and Sing. I knew you would recognize it, okay? This book is by Kelly Starling Lyons, illustrated by Keith Mallett. Sing a Song: How Lift Every Voice and Sing Inspired a Generation. So we will be reading that book. And of course, we got to get back to finding out more about these unteachables, okay? Gotta get back to learning more. Some of the chapters go back to some characters that we've already met, but there's more to learn about them, okay? I want to know, and it's just me, maybe it's you too. I want to know, when is Kiana going to get caught being in SES 8? When is she going to get caught? Her stepmother was supposed to enroll her in school and did not. So she just decided to go to SCS 8 after Parker almost ran her over. So she has been there for a few days. I want to know, how long is it going to take the school and her parents to find out she is not enrolled and not in the right class? I want to find out, okay? Now, my friends, let us get to the books, okay? Hello, Jocelyn. I'm so glad you could be here with me today. I miss you guys. I do miss you. Let us read Commotion in the Ocean by Giles Andre and David Wojtowicz. Now, I'll just let you know, this was a gift book, and one of the pages is missing. When I read it, I was like, oh, the rest of that picture is gone because the page is missing. Or maybe it's supposed to be missing. I don't know. Because the way it looks, you'll see when you see the page. You'll see. Commotion in the Ocean. There's a curious commotion at the bottom of the ocean. I think we ought to go and take a look. You'll find every sort of creature that lives beneath the sea swimming through the pages of this book. There are dolphins, whales, and penguins. There are jellyfish and sharks. There is the turtles and the big white polar bear. But can you see behind these wrecks and in between the rocks? Let's take a look and find who's hiding there. So can you see all the creatures that are hiding there? Oh, I see one in the ship. I think I know what that is. Crab. The crab likes walking sideways, and I think the reason why is to make himself look sneaky and pretend that he's a spy. Look at the crabbies. They're kind of cute. Turtles. We crawl up the beach from the water to bury our eggs on dry land. We lay a whole batch, and then when they hatch, they scamper about in the sand. You know, there are people who live where turtles lay their eggs, and they actually guard the eggs against predators who would come and eat them. And then if the baby turtles get confused on which way to get to the ocean, they try to lead them to the ocean so that they can get back out into the water. I saw that one time on a documentary. It was very fascinating. Let's get to the next animal. Dolphins. The wonderful thing about dolphins is hearing them trying to speak. It's not how do you do, as I'd say to you. It's more like click, whistle, squeak. So dolphins, when they're talking to each other underwater, you might not be able to hear it, but they make a lot of clicks and whistles and squeaks. You would have to have a special microphone to hear how they talk to each other. Angelfish. Hello, I'm the angelfish, darling, the prettiest thing in the sea. What a shame there's no other creatures as gorgeous and lovely as me. Well, I did not know the angelfish was so vain, but they are beautiful fish, though. Jellyfish. The jellyfish loves to jiggle, which other fish think is quite dumb. She knows it's not all that useful, but jiggling's lots of fun. But jiggling is good for a jellyfish. That's how they swim. How dare you say my jiggling is dumb? That is not nice. Now you'll see the picture. Shark. I swim with a grin. I swim with a grin up to greet you. See how my jaws open wide? Why don't you come a bit closer? Please take a good look inside. I don't think so, not with all those teeth. Lobster. Never shake hands with a lobster. It isn't a wise thing to do. With a clippity clap and a snippity snap, he would snip all your fingers in two. Now you see the missing part of the of the shark. At least we got to meet the shark, even if we couldn't see the teeth. Deep sea. Miles below the surface, where the water is dark and deep, live the most amazing creatures that you could ever meet. There are fish of all descriptions, of every shape and size. Some have giant pointy teeth and great big bulging eyes. Some of them can walk around and balance on their fins, but the strangest fish of all have glowing whiskers on their chins. Wow. Look at all of those glowing fish. You're way down deep, deep, deep in the sea. It's very dark. So some fish make their own light all the way down there. The blue whale. There's no other beast on the planet as big as the giant blue whale. He measures a massive 100 feet long from his head to the tip of his tail. Barnacles. We're just a bunch of barnacles, and all we do is cling. We know it's not that glamorous, but it's our favorite thing. You see the little barnacles on the whale? Barnacles will cling to big fish or to big ships. And they're little teeny tiny animals. Oh my goodness, if you get this book and you look really close, all of them have little tiny smiling faces. It's so cute. Walruses. Our bodies are covered with blubber, and our tusks are incredibly long. We're grumpy and proud, and we bellow out loud to show that we're mighty and strong. They are big animals. I don't know, I'd be a little afraid of those huge tusks, huge teeth. Penguins. We waddle around on our icebergs, which make our feet slither and slide. And when we get close to the water, we leap with a splash off the side. That looks so fun. So many of you will be doing things like that in pools this summer. Just gotta be safe, be careful. Polar bears. Deep out in the Arctic, the mommy polar bear snuggles up with all her children since it's very cold out there. Oh, they're cute. What a lot of creatures we've seen beneath the sea. What a lot of funny things they do. Some of them might lick their lips and eat you in one bite, and some might want to swim around with you. The dolphin's very friendly, and the lobster's very fierce. but the shark is the most dangerous by far. Can you name the other friends we've made along the way? See if you can tell me who they are. And they all live in one big sea together. The end. I like this book. This was a good book, especially if you're one of those people who loves the water. And they talked about some Arctic animals. But do you know that there are many people who go to visit Alaska in the summertime because it's beautiful up there and they will still be able to see those wonderful animals? Commotion in the ocean. You have some young ones who love to be at the beach and love to be on boats and in the ocean. This right here is a book for them. Such a good book. So glad I got to read with you all. All right, my friends, on to our next book. Sing a Song. How Lift Every Voice and Sing Inspired a Generation. Oh, and it looks just the same underneath that beautiful dust jacket. All right, let's change our ambience. Sing a Song. How Lift Every Voice and Sing Inspired a Generation. In the front of the book, it has the song by James Weldon Johnson. Sing a Song. Oh, this is a Nancy Paulson Books book. Before you were born, a girl learned a song. Beautiful little girl. Her principal, James Weldon Johnson, and his brother, John Rosamond Johnson, had written the hymn for a celebration of President Abraham Lincoln's birthday. The girl wanted to make them proud. She sang on her way home from school. She practiced it as she did her chores. Oh, she's on the choir. Choir kid, just like me. On the big day, February 12th, 1900, she was part of a choir 500 strong. Back straight, head high, heart and mouth open, she sang. Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. She kept on singing as she grew up. She taught it to her students when she became a teacher. She crooned it to her husband as they journeyed from Jacksonville, Florida, to a new life in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She sang it when she rocked her baby boy to sleep. It was a part of her she wanted to pass on. And you know what? Her little boy learned that song. He listened to her hum it as she dreamed of being able to teach again in her new home. He heard his daddy sing it when the days at the steel mill wore him down. Wow. Look how a song travels. Then one day, he stood in the choir loft and gazed at the glowing faces. Back straight, head high, heart and mouth open, he sang. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the roaring sea. And he kept on singing. He sang it when he came back from World War II and faced discrimination. He sang it when he joined the NAACP. He sang it with his wife and to his baby daughter. Just a second. To his baby daughter as he rocked her to sleep. It was part of him he wanted to pass on. And you know what? His little girl learned the song. She sang it every morning. She sang it each morning at school. Wow. Then came the day that broke the nation's heart. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was killed. The next morning, she saw her teacher cry. Sobs replaced singing, then whispers and silence. Who would lead them now? Wow. The song whispered an answer. Back straight, head high, heart and mouth opened, she sang. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Wow. And she kept on singing. She sang it at protests for equal rights and when she and her friends were jailed. She sang that song in her heart each time she won or lost a case as a lawyer. Wow. She sang it to her baby boy as she rocked him to sleep. It was a part of her she wanted to pass on. Wow. And you know what? Her little boy learned that song. Every family reunion opened with that anthem. He sang because he had to at first, but then something changed. He saw the awe in his grandparents' faces, saw the pride in his mamas and pops. Back straight, head high, heart and mouth open, he sang, sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. And he kept on singing. He sang it at his college graduation, when he opened his first business. He sang it at rallies to stand up against racism. He sang it holding his wife's hand at Black History programs, and when he rocked his daughter to sleep. It was a part of him he wanted to pass on. And you know what? His little girl learned that song. And on another big day, September 24th, 2016, he stood in a crowd of thousands along with her mama and daddy. President Obama, the First Lady, and generations of one family rang the freedom bell. A dream born a century ago to honor Black lives and contributions had finally come true. The National Museum of African American History and Culture was finally opened. Just a second. Wow, look at that. I cannot wait to get to go there. I've heard so many good things about that museum. With the Washington Monument piercing the sky, that little girl stared at the bronze building majestic as a crown. As bells around the nation tolled in triumph, she heard a voice rising too. Clear and strong, it was a song she heard her parents sing. Back straight, head high, heart and mouth open, she sang, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. And you know what? This song is a part of you. Sing when you score a victory. Sing when tough times get you down. Sing and think of all the people who sang before you, who carried on and pushed forward even when everything was against them. Sing and remember they never stopped believing. Keep singing, keep pushing, keep passing it on. Keep on keeping on. The end. So there is an author's note. It's a little long, so I'm not going to read it now. But this book is so great. More than just a book for Black History Month. This song is for all types of occasions where families and groups of people get together to celebrate victory, joy, resilience. As I was reading the book and reading through the lyrics of the song that were sang, I could feel myself being a little emotional, especially when you think of all of the people before us that sang this song, that went through so many hard times, went through being treated the wrong way. That's the reason why Juneteenth is celebrated. It's celebrated as a victory that through hundreds of years of being enslaved, being treated badly, I know that those people probably never thought that they would see freedom. And a lot of those people were the daughters, sons, nieces, nephews, grandchildren of the first people who were brought to these shores. Anyone who's been marginalized or treated unfairly, lift every voice and sing. Though it speaks of the experience of African Americans, it's a song that you can sing too. That's why they sing it at family reunions and big events like the opening of the National African American History Museum. That is why it's sang at all of those places. So you want to teach children that Black history is not just in February. It's not just for one time of the year, but that we can always celebrate all of our triumphs and victories, even in a song, to pass it down as something that can be sang when you reach a victory. Like in the book, it said at his college graduation, he hummed the song. because that's a victory. It takes a lot to make it through college. So I love this book. I'm so glad I got to read it with you all. And I hope that it makes you think and makes you proud of your heritage and proud that James Weldon Johnson and his brother penned these words. So please, please, families, not just for your children to learn about Black History Month or Black Americans, but as a song of triumph for your family, as a book that teaches about passing strength down to your descendants. Get this as a family book, not just for your young ones, but for everyone. Sing a song, how Lift Every Voice and Sing inspired a generation. Such a good book. So glad I got to read it with you guys. All right. You know where we are, friends. You know where we are. We gotta read about these Unteachables, y'all. So we are in chapter 8, going back to Mr. Kermit, learning some things about Mr. Kermit. So, um, oh, in the last chapter, Mrs. Fountain invites the class into her class for circle time. It's a 7th grade class, but they're also a special education self-contained classroom. So they sat down for circle time. They're supposed to, give compliments to other people around the circle. SCS 8 does not know how to do stuff like that. They're used to being thought of as the unteachables, the unwantables, the ones that no one wants to be around, except for the football player, okay? So they were not really aware of how to do that. So Barnstorm comes in, sits down next to Aldo, who of course has anger issues, and he plops down. His crutch hits Aldo. Aldo says ow and swings his hand, which then swings the crutch, and the crutch hits the tank that the gecko in SCS 7 is in, and the gecko goes running out the door. And Mr. Kermit says, it was nice. Thank you so much for trying to include us. We're going to go now. And so they leave. That is where we are now in chapter 8, Mr. Kermit. When breakfast is mustard on toast, that's a sure sign that it's time to go back to the grocery store. It means I've run out of butter and cream cheese and jam, and I'm digging into the condiment packs left over from my last McDonald's run. Come to think of it, this is my last slice of bread, too. And stale doesn't begin to describe it. The apartment is a dump, clean enough, but definitely from a bygone era. I can afford much better, but I'm too disinterested to redecorate and too lazy to move. It's the perfect place for a meal of mustard on toast, the breakfast of the disinterested and lazy. Not for the first time, I pictured Fiona's house with its picket fence and its oh-so-green lawn. It's more vivid now, since I can imagine Emma growing up there playing on the swings, riding her tricycle in the driveway, and playing with her first lizard. I don't want to think about her first lizard. Her last lizard, I mean, thanks to the Unteachables. God only knows what happened to Vladimir. He's probably trapped in the walls of the school somewhere, starving to death. If he made it out of the building, he's roadkill for sure. Eventually, I go down to the Cocoa Nerd and it started up in a cloud of burnt oil. Oh, he called it what? He called it how Parker read it. I'm actually calling it that thanks to Parker. See, I didn't even read that. And for some reason, I can't get it out of my head. Something else lay at the feet of something else to lay at the feet of the Unteachables. June has never looked further away. I'm not even a third of the way to school when the billboard looms up. Come see the largest inventory of new and used vehicles in the Tri-County area. Come on, pages. And there's his face, grinning out through the flaming hoop like he's some kind of circus performer and not the sleazy used car dealer he was always meant to be. Jumping Jack Terranova, who will jump through hoops to get you a great deal on the perfect new or used car. Even though I pass this billboard every day, it's always somehow a blow to see him up there. He doesn't look much different than he did as a seventh grader, always grinning, like he's got it all figured out. And he's still selling cars and SUVs now instead of stolen copies of the National Aptitude Test. Oh, he's the one! He's good at it too. Terranova Motors is the third largest auto dealership in the state. That's quite an accomplishment. Jumping Jake has come a long way since seventh grade when his biggest accomplishment was ruining his teacher's life. No, I remind myself Dr. Thaddeus did that. Sure, the cheating thing was an ugly scandal, but it's not as if I was in on the scam. All I was guilty of was trusting my students and believing that their best in the nation test score was an honest achievement. My real crime, the one I'll never be forgiven for, was making Thaddeus look bad. The principal turned superintendent has been taking his revenge ever since Jake Terranova was just the first tile that started the dominoes tumbling. The giant dealership looms up on the left. I can't help it. I count how long it takes to pass the vast Watson showrooms. 14 full seconds at the speed of traffic. It isn't enough that the Terranova kid got away with his seventh grade shenanigans. Obviously, they gave him the formula for getting rich. He's rolling in money while the teacher he took down is living on bread and mustard and driving a cocoa nerd. Although the main reason I haven't replaced the car is that I blame all auto dealerships for Jake Terranova. I turn into the school lot where Parker's pickup truck is sprawled across the last two open spaces. Sure, give a middle school kid a driver's license. What could go wrong? Annoyed, I block the pickup in, making a mental note to keep the kid after school just long enough to beat him out here. I didn't pack a lunch, but I remember buying a falafel a couple days ago that I never got around to eating. It isn't on the passenger seat, so I try the glove compartment. No luck. It must have fallen on the floor and rolled under the seat when the car went over a bump. The Cocoa Nerd doesn't have much in the way of suspension. Probably rolled out of the bottom of the car in the back, because remember, you can see the floor. You can see the street. Bending over double, I reached around and pat the floor on the passenger side. Sure enough, I find the paper sack. But when I pull it out, there's a hole in the bag, and the falafel is half eaten and torn to shreds. I get on all fours and peer under the seat. It looks like somebody lost a leather wallet down there. Then it shifts, and two beady eyes peer out at me. Ooh! I recoil in shock, slamming the back of my head against the dashboard. With a squeak of fear, the creature begins to scramble away, and I jam my hand in and grab it before it can escape through the hole in the floor. Breathing hard, I draw the little guy out and hold him against my chest. Vladimir, I presume. In answer, the gecko poops on my shirt. I sigh, unable to muster up any anger or even surprise. Vladimir is merely continuing the pattern of treatment that's been going on for 27 years. I brushed the tiny pellets away. So the fugitive lizard did make it out of the building. Not only that, but he managed to find the one car in the parking lot with a hole in the floor and a falafel just waiting to be feasted on. And he's been here for the past 18 hours, safe and sound, while the custodians scoured the school, listening to every wall with stethoscopes. Still toting the little beast, I got out of the car. I hold on pretty tight at first, but relax when I realize Vladimir isn't going anywhere. Why should he? He's eating the rest of my lunch as we enter the school. I'm actually looking forward to restoring Vladimir to his rightful owner. True, that's dangerously close to caring, but Emma is almost like my daughter from an alternate universe, her being Fiona's kid. The young teacher already thinks my class is a horde of barbarians, mostly because they are. This might get her to consider the possibility that I'm not to blame for it. As I approach room 115, her voice stops me in my tracks. I know teachers get burned out, Mom, but this is different. He's barely even alive. I teach right next door to him. He doesn't open his mouth all day. Those poor kids are going to learn nothing because nobody's there to teach them. It's such a shame. I back up a step. She's stalking around the room, updating her bulletin boards with gold stars, holding her phone to her ear with one hunched shoulder. What she's saying hurts all the more because of who she's saying it to. A surge of resentment. What does Emma Fountain know about being burned out? She's barely older than the students. She thinks giving middle schoolers gold stars and class pets and lecturing them about being bucket fillers is education. How long has she been teaching? 10 minutes? The first time she tried to take on the Unteachables, they laid waste to her circle and released her lizard to the four winds. But Fiona's never going to hear that side of the story. Emma adjusts the drooping nostril of Harvey, the hall pass hippo. Okay, fine. He used to be a great teacher once. It's now that counts. Honestly, I can't believe you were actually engaged to that. I tense up, giving the gecko a squeeze. A sharp squeak is torn from his little mouth. She wheels, and the phone drops from her ear. Vladimir! She grabs the lost pet from my arms and rains kisses down on his scaly head. Where did you find him? Around, I said stiffly. I'm not in the mood for a conversation about the hole in the back of my car. She's red in the face now. How long have you been standing there, Mr. Kermit? I attempted to say long enough, or something else to make her feel bad, because she of all people should know that wasn't a very bucket-filling conversation. But I hold my tongue. This used to be my favorite part of the day, when the students haven't come yet to ruin it. It's usually downhill from there. My very dramatic exit is spoiled by a small mustard burp as breakfast climbs a little higher up the back of my throat. I need coffee. I cheer myself by picturing the toilet bowl on the shelf in the faculty lounge, dwarfing all the lesser mugs. Chapter 9. Parker Elias. Back when Grandpa was alive, he and Grams ran the lunch counter at the bus station. I can still picture the luncheonette sign, which always looked like elect the noun to me. I don't remember much about Grandpa except he used to tell me it was a $10 word, and I'd be able to read it just fine when I got older. We know how that worked out. Grams would stand me up in front of the candy counter, which seemed like it was a mile high, although that was just because I was small. She'd say, "What'll it be, kiddo?" And I would pick out whatever I wanted. In those days, I didn't mind being kiddo because she definitely knew my name. "This handsome fellow is my grandson Parker," she'd announce whenever the regulars came by. You could just tell by the way she boomed it out that she was totally thrilled by the idea. I wonder if she knows that guy who drives her every morning is the same little kid she used to brag about to her customers. It's not her fault. When Grandpa died, she started forgetting a lot of stuff. And you'd think a grandson could be an exception to that, especially a grandson who's supposed to be her favorite person in the world. Graham insists that the reason she can't get her act together is she isn't a morning person. This from a lady who gets up at 4 a.m. So we'll be halfway to the senior center before I look down and notice that her shoes don't match, and that instead of her purse, she brought a half a loaf of Wonder Bread. Though there are those red, yellow, and blue polka dots smiling up at there are those red, yellow, and blue polka dots smiling up at me, along with the name, which looks like Downer. Oh, it's Wonder. Today, Mom's driving because Grams has her semi-annual conference with the social worker at the senior center. Mom calls it Meet the Teacher, since I guess it's a lot like a parent-teacher conference at school. Speaking of which, she says to me, "How's 8th grade going? I understand you're in a different kind of program this year." I almost reply, "Yeah, the Unteachables," but that wouldn't be a good idea. The minute she got through with Graham's Meet the Teacher, she'd be stalking the middle school looking for my teacher. I picture my folks trying to hold a conversation with Ribbit, who never glances up from his crossword puzzle. Dad especially would have no patience for that. Fall is our busiest season on the farm, with so much harvesting still to do. So I tell her, it's going fine, like always. She casts me a doubtful look. Like always might not have been the best choice of words, sorry. Mom signs my report cards. She knows better than anyone what like always probably means. I add, our teacher has a lot of experience. He started out teaching stegosauruses and pterodactyls before moving on to Unteachables. Dinosaurs had no problem being in class with a guy who did crossword puzzles all day. Mom looks like she has more questions, but luckily, Grams is waiting outside her building. No mismatched clothing or missing socks. No rubber gasket from the coffee maker on her wrist instead of her medical alert bracelet. She's thrown a little to see me in the passenger seat instead of behind the wheel. So it takes some coaxing to get her into the truck. She has to sit on the hump between me and Mom, since the pickup has no back seat. "Of all the cars, you picked this one," she asked Mom. "You're crazy." "It's just one of a couple. It's just, I gotta get my eyes together. It's just for a couple of minutes, my mother promises. Once we drop Parker at school, you'll have plenty of room. I'm Parker, I put in quickly since Grams is looking around the car in confusion. She beams at me. Hey, kiddo, want breakfast? No time. We're coming up on my stop. Mom pulls up to the front of the school and I get out. She waves. Have fun. Yeah, right. Fun? That's the last word that comes to mind when I think of SCS 8. On the other hand, a sit down with Grams and a social worker won't be a party either. I'm probably getting the better deal. Well, we will end there. So, young Miss Fountain has some concerns about Mr. Kermit, and she has told her mother, Mr. Kermit's former fiance, Miss Fiona, which has to be embarrassing. Totally. Because now, not only does Miss Fountain see how he is, now her mom, his former fiance, knows too. And I found your gecko. That's kind of bad. That's kind of bad. And now Parker's mother may have some questions about this teacher and what the teacher's doing and what he's learning from Mr. Kermit. So, is Parker Elias's mom going to come up to the school after she finishes with Grandma? Let's see if that happens on Fabulous Friday. Well, my friends, thank you so much for being here for Miss Hope's Reading Hour. I am so glad to have been able to read these great books today with you all. The Commotion in the Ocean, and really my favorite of the day, Sing a Song. How Lift Every Voice and Sing inspired a generation. Like, it's generations. Okay? Love this book. Please, oh please, think of getting this as a family book. Such a good book. Books are awesome. I just love them. That's why I love doing this, because I love sharing books with all of you. It's so much fun, especially when we're both learning something new together and we're hearing about new things together. Because the first book, I read through that one. This one, I did not read through. This is a very powerful little book. Okay? So glad I was able to be here with you today. I look forward to seeing you on the Fabulous Friday edition of Miss Hope's Reading Hour. Please do donate to the Miss Hope's Reading Hour library. And I will see you next time. Until then, my friends, bye for